Hi, I want to give you some suggestions about what to study for the chapter quizzes for AP Government. First of all, you'll notice on the homepage of the AP Government website, we've got the digital textbook, the OpenStax textbook, and if you go there, you can see all of the chapters are listed. And obviously the chapters are important. You need to read through those and know what's in those. In addition to the material in the chapter, what I have here are various pieces of information that I've included. I refer to them as pins. I've pinned them into the chapter, things that I think you really need to know. And you can either get to them here through this menu, or if you're in, say, Chapter 1, and you get to one of these red squares are links to the pins, and you can read them that way. So know what's in the chapter. The pins are particularly important. Okay, then if we go back to the government homepage, the next thing that I really recommend that you pay attention to would be the Quizlets. And you can get to the Quizlets here in the drop-down menu on the main page, or up here on the drop-down menu. And there are Quizlets for each of the chapters. And so if you've used Quizlet before, you're familiar with how this is set up. What I've done is identify a number of terms from each of the chapter, or concepts or ideas from the chapter, and for each of the terms there is a card with the term and with the explanation. And you can go through these with any of these study tools. I happen to think the Learn function is particularly useful. It takes you through the terms in a variety of ways, and I think it's a good way to review for the test. If we go back to the main page, another thing that you'll need to know for the quiz is that every week, or for every quiz, there will be a question from the American Political Dictionary. And this is a book that you'll check out. It has a really good explanation of a lot of important terms that you'll need to know for the AP exam. And what you can see here is a schedule. If I can scroll down here. Okay, so for example, while we're reading Chapter 1 in OpenStax, you'll be looking at these terms here from Chapter 2 in the American Political Dictionary. When we're reading Chapter 9 in OpenStax on parties, you'll be looking at these terms on parties and elections over here in OpenStax. And you don't have to know all the terms in the chapter. For example, the Chapter 2 on the Constitution in OpenStax, these are the 10 terms that you'll need to know. Okay? There is for the APD terms, American Political Dictionary terms, there is a Quizlet for that as well. So you go back to the Quizlets page, and you can see here Quizlet for the Semester 1 APD terms. Now this has a lot of terms. I think it's got 40 for Semester 1, and you only need to know the 10 that go with the current chapter. So what you can do is you can select the ones that you want to review by starring them, or unstarring anyway. Select those 10, and then again you can go through with the Learn function, study those, and the APD question will be an oral question that I'll ask you along with the quiz. Another kind of question that you're going to need to know for the quiz is a question on required Supreme Court cases. The College Board has identified, I think there are 15 cases that you're going to need to know. And you can get to those either here on the courts page or with the drop-down menu here, go to the courts page. And what you'll see, a list of the required Supreme Court cases for the chapter quiz. This will show you, for example, when we are studying Chapter 1 in OpenStax, here's the list of the required Supreme Court cases, and we'll cover these in the course of the year. But when we're reading Chapter 1 in OpenStax, you're going to need to know, for example, Gideon, all right. You're going to need to know Gideon, Brown, and Tinker versus Des Moines. There is also a Quizlet for the required Supreme Court cases, and you can get to them here or through the Quizlet page. And there's something a little bit different with this. Instead of just having one card for each of the quizzes, or each of the cases rather, there are 4. So let me organize this so it's alphabetical. So for example, if you were doing Baker versus Carr, you'd see there are 4 cards here. One about the dissenting opinion, one about the facts of the case, one about the majority opinion, and one the basic principle that's established in the case. And again, you can go through for the 3 cases that I might ask you about for this week's quiz, star those, and use the learn function or any of these other study tools in order to prepare for the question there. The last thing I want to show you, if we go back to the home page here, is I have some sample quiz questions. There are, on the test for the chapter, there are going to be 12 questions. There will be 7 normal multiple choice questions, like this one here. There will be one of what is called, the AP folks call a comparison question. And if I can scroll down, okay. And with the comparison question, sorry, it's a little jumpy today. With the comparison question, what we see is 4 options, and you pick the one where both of these are true. So for example, D is correct about powers of the president and about powers of Congress. And there are also going to be questions that present you with a paragraph or so of text, or a cartoon, or some quantitative data. And those will be multiple choice questions, and you can see examples here. Here's a text-based question, a cartoon-based question, and a question about data sets. And on the AP exam, there'll be, for example, a data set and 2 to 4 questions on that data set. For our chapter quizzes, for these stimulus-based questions, there will be 2 questions. The first one normally, what are we looking at? What's the main idea? What's the main point? What's the central concept? And then a question asking you to do some analysis. So the chapter quiz has 7 questions on the OpenStax chapter, on the pins, on the Quizlet terms, and those are regular multiple choice questions. There'll be 1 comparison question. There'll be 2 stimulus-based questions like the data set or cartoon or text. And then there'll be 1 short answer question on the APD terms, 1 short answer question on the Supreme Court cases. Hope that helps.